John Lusk here of Lusk Archery Adventures. Series testing, successful hunting. I got another cool broadhead that I'm excited to test here today. It's the Thrive broadhead. It's an over-the-top mechanical broadhead, 2-blade, and it looks kind of simple, but it's got some really unique, cool design features about it. 100% made here in the USA. So let's zoom on in here, take a closer look at it, and then we're going to put it to the test. Here you get a good look at the Thrive. It's 100 grains, 2-blade, over-the-top deploying mechanical head with a cutting diameter of 1.5 inches. The blades are 0.040 inches thick, so nice thick blades. The blades are obviously made out of stainless steel. The tip is a nice chisel tip, hardened stainless steel. Looks pretty stout. The ferrule is 7075, which is a top-tier aluminum. It's got a tapered design, which I think is going to aid in its strength. It's relatively short due to the short blade length, and it's not very vented. So all that is going to help produce a bit more durability in the ferrule. Now, another thing that's interesting about the head is the blades are arranged in an offset pattern. Okay, so you can see it like that. Let me get it lined up right. You can see an offset just means that they're not in the same plane. So when they open up, it looks like this, and you can see that the blades are not in the same line. That causes a rotation upon impact. Now they're also single beveled. So each of the blades have a single beveling, which means they're just angled on one side. And the single beveling combined with that offset pattern should produce a decent wound channel, a rotation inside of a medium. So I'm eager to test that and see how that works out. Now, the other thing that's really unique about this head is the way the blades deploy. All right, they're over the top. Like I said, it's pressure here upon impact that opens them. But there's no O-rings, and there's no retention clips or collars or anything else. They're held in place just by magnetism. And that's a really unique design. I don't know why I haven't seen that before. I don't know why someone hasn't done it. But man, it's nice. They're very secure. They just hold definitely tight enough to stay in place in flight, but then they open very easily upon impact. And you never have to worry about any kind of a collar or ring or anything out in the field. So I'm eager to put these heads to the test and see how they perform. For 2021, I'm making this edge retention test a bit more challenging. I'm going to stroke the edge of the blade with an Easton hex shaft twice, and after each time I do that, I'm going to do a push paper test. That tests how well this head is going to retain its edge as it penetrates a medium, and it's going to get 2 points for every time it cuts paper after every 2 strokes of the arrow for a maximum of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The Thrive cut paper after 6 strokes of the arrow. The Thrive penetrated 7 inches. Here's the entrance of the Thrive, and you can see that it opened up 7/8 of an inch on the opening, which is not bad for an over-the-top deploying mechanical. And you can also see that S cut that you get with the offset blades. Tip, as you see, poked through the 47th layer. Here you can get a good look at the wound channel from the Thrive, and you can notice the angle of the blades where they went into the gel and the angle that they're at rest, and you can see that they rotated 60 degrees, which is really impressive for any head, but with a mechanical, that's really extra impressive. I just want to show you the entrance hole of the Thrive in this MDF For an over-the-top mechanical, to have an entrance hole larger than the total cutting diameter is really impressive. The cutting diameter is 1.5 inches, and the hole here is almost 2 inches on entrance. Here's the Thrive after the durability test. Now, it went through the MDF with the gel one time, and then I shot it 3 more times into just the MDF. After the second shot into just the plain MDF, one of the blades, this one was in this position. I couldn't move it, but I wanted to shoot it one more time, and this one got pretty jacked up when I did that. So you can see it can't close because it bent too much. This one can't move. And as for the spin, you can see that it has a wobble. I don't know if that's from the blades or from the ferrule, but it definitely has a wobble to it. Here's the head after being shot into the cinder block. And you see that it held up really well. The ferrule looks to be in good shape. The blades were never impacted. They never actually hit the concrete. Maybe this one did just a little bit. The tip is really strong. You can see the tip held up really well. Just a nice, solid, chiseled tip. Only the very tip got blunted or broken off. As for the spin, you see that it definitely has a wobble to it. But still, it held up relatively well. So what do you think of the Thrive? Hey, there's a lot of really cool things about this head that make me like it. I love that it's all made in the USA. You got to appreciate that. I like the way that they use this magnetic closure. Very innovative and very effective. And on a side note with that, it makes it really easy to replace the blades. Sometimes with mechanical blades, it's hard to line up all the holes and springs and screws and everything else. But in this case, there's just a separate screw for each of the blades. And they're really easy to hold in place because the magnets just hold them in place, and then you just put the screw in there and screw it in. So that makes it extra nice in that way. I like the smaller cut. Okay, it's 1.5 inches, and more heads are moving to that because it maximizes penetration and still gives you plenty of a hole to allow for great bloodletting and a good blood trail. I also like the wound channel on this. Those offset blades and that single beveling allowed for an incredible rotation, more of a rotation than I've seen in many single bevel fixed blade heads. And then the low profile in flight just means it's going to be very forgiving even at long range. So check out the score sheet and see how it measures up to other heads, and check out what's most important to you in those scores. But great job, Thrive.